with Cherie Pridham of Cherie Pridham Racing, and you've got a new team this year, but it's been a lot of hard work, hasn't it, Cherie?
Yeah, it was always going to. I suppose all good things have to come to an end. But we've been 6 months in the planning, and I'm just grateful that we're in a position that we are in now to crack on with 2018.
It's how long have you been in cycling? Because you had a long international career. You raced things like the Tour de Feminin and all the big races that the women did back then. When did it kick off?
15 years as a bike rider, probably a bit more. And then I started off the back of Eddie White's junior squad, and then us going into junior squads, setting up teams like the Merlin Development Squad, and it's kind of just went from there really.
And what was racing back in, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, which is when I started this game? Was it a lot different to what it is now? Yeah,
I mean, even the training methods. I think in my day we had a polar heart rate monitor and an Avocet computer, and yeah, and you kind of had to come sit at the computer and type your numbers in 192, 193, and 196, 192, and off you'd go, and then that would be your looking at your recovery. But the support these guys have got now is, the training methods, power meters, wind tunnel testing. It just only the fortunate in those days would maybe get their hands on equipment and support like that now. So, but ultimately, you still ended up with the same result. It's just, I think we had more fun, really. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, it was less business-like.
Absolutely. Yeah, wash your own kit, wash your own bike, make your own water bottles. But we got by.
Who were the people back then that helped influence you? Because you've been in this game for a long time as a rider and now as a manager. I'm guessing there might have been people there that you learnt off. Things that you probably still remember. Oh,
right back from the early days, when I had a coach, Tony Roberts, back in Cape Town in South Africa, and he sort of taught me how to manage myself as a bike rider. And I think that, looking back, even the media side of things, we didn't have Facebook and Twitter in those days, but it was, I think, learning the essence of looking after your sponsors, and even to this day I've still got sponsors back home in Cape Town that I'm still friendly with. And then moving on to team managers that I've had in France and Italy, who I'm still in contact now, and race organisers, having to do our own selling to get onto teams and get onto races back in those days. I suppose I never thought about what we were doing then, but we still managed to get onto races and teams.
I guess one thing that is probably a definite, and that as a rider, it's a lot easier being a rider than it is being a...
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I keep having to say to some of our young boys this year is, you guys have got an easy life. But no, it all swings in roundabouts, and I think it's all about respecting what you have and appreciating, what teams do, not just my team, but what teams have to do to get a team on the start line.
Highlights from your career? The things that you remember?
I could never ride a crit, so thank God I can't. I'm not a rider now because, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed stage racing and I enjoyed looking after riders, like good climbers. That's what I ended up doing is being a half decent climber. Just getting invitations to World Cups, Giro d'Italias and things like that. I sort of miss those days, definitely.
And why did your career end? Was it through injury, or was it just come to a natural?
A little bit of both, really. I suppose I'd been going through the process, 8 Tour de France's, and you, as a bike rider, when you're approaching 30, 31, and I'd been going since I was 11, so I'd had a long career, and I was looking for. I'd done a bit of cyclocross. I did about mountain biking, and I tried everything. And then, unfortunately, I was involved in a hit and run here in Derby, and that sort of had quite serious injuries, and it took me probably 18 months to get back. And I was never the person when you are frightened of riding in the middle of a pack. You know, it's time to think about other things.
The early teams that you were involved in, you mentioned Merlin. What other teams?
Well, we went from the Merlin Development Squad, which we created here with here in Derby with a good friend. Went on to under 23 squads, and then we worked a little bit with Dave Williams at Kyoto. Yeah. And then we were approached by Rally at the time, and you know, and 7 years later, the end of that team last year.
And during that period, though, Cherie Pridham Racing came out of that, and you actually became team owner. Yeah,
and that was more to do with the internal structure of Rally UK at the time. You know, I think we needed to create to extend the life of the team. We needed to create a management company, and I always said that was something I wanted to do. I'm not. If you ask me that question now, I'm not so sure, but it was. I suppose looking back to 3-4 years ago, it was surrounding myself personally with the right people, and sometimes not necessarily having the cycling industry support around you, but people who understand how to run a business was key to the position that we're in now.
Could you have predicted how difficult it was going to be? I mean, you've been in the as a rider for 15 years, and then all these other smaller teams. But could you have predicted just how difficult it was going to be once one team finishes and another team starts? Because it has been a tough winter for you.
That's exactly what I said, is surrounding yourself with the right people, and the people that believe what you that ultimately what you want to achieve out of running a team. And it's never easy. You know, we've had that many disappointments, yeses, nos, you know, just in the last 6 months. But I suppose that's the determination and the support that you have, you know, behind me, essentially, keep me on the straight and narrow.
How tough is it now for teams? Because there was a bit of a purple period where sponsors seem to want to be involved in cycling, but now teams, not just yourself, but a lot of teams are finding it quite tough. It's
scarily worrying sometimes, and I think the whole method of how you promote your team has changed significantly. Is content on social media is key, sometimes more important than actually winning the bike race. And I think so long as you deliver the activation side, I mean, activation's got to be both, it's a two-way thing. And once you get a sponsor behind that, then I think you can work on a long and successful partnership.
So when did it all start to fall into place during the winter? With Vitus, you already had Toyota and a few other very valuable sponsors on board.
I think we've, you know, it's not a case of losing a sponsor. I think in any sponsorship, any partnership, there's a life of that, you know, that sponsorship, and so 3 to 5 years is generally what a company will look at to supporting maybe a cycling team, but you just have to be one step ahead of the game, and be prepared for disappointments.
Yeah. So you've got Vitus Pro is now the title sponsor of the team, new bikes. The first thing I guess you needed after you had all the sponsors were riders.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did that? What were you looking for in the riders?
Well, when we sort of we knew that 2016/2017 was going to be a difficult transitional year in terms of finance. To keep the momentum, we had to have a strategy, a plan, and obviously working with young riders it's always been close to my heart, supporting young riders. I mean, every year since 2011, we've either brought riders to the UK and assisted them back to Pro Conti. And it's almost a marriage of convenience, I guess, for the rider and for the team. But we've learned a lot with that process, you know, and having 2018 team of, I think our average age this year is just short of 22. It's the youngest group of riders I've had for years. But I can't be more motivated, just to see the enthusiasm. And that's one thing we wanted. We wanted a clean sheet of paper. We always said it was going to be clean cut and a fresh start for everybody. And that's one thing that we set out, particularly when we knew we were going to be working with Vitus, was, that was our sell, is youth under 23, and start developing the next, the next group of riders coming through.
And I guess working with such a young group of riders, they probably appreciate the opportunity of the racing that you're going to give them than perhaps someone who's been in it 10 or 15 years and is perhaps getting a little bit stale or a little bit...
Yeah, and that's no disrespect to those, to those older riders. We've spoken to a lot of riders that have gone from one team to another team, sort of 28, 30, right, and they have to learn, they have to earn a living, and I've got, every sympathy for those guys who have to pay mortgages and whatnot. But going back to the youth side of things, you have to start bringing in and giving opportunities to these young guys. But that's key to sitting down with umpteen, listening to getting the CVs in and just interviews, and hopefully you pick the right ones, and out of a group of 6 riders, you hope that maybe one of them is going to be the next,
Well, I guess from those young riders, though, their youthful enthusiasm and their get up and go is something that spreads through the team and helps the team, motivate the team for the coming season ahead as well.
Yeah, you there's nothing better than seeing a lad getting his bike and his equipment, but it's not just about giving them a bike and a jersey. There's a lot more, particularly in a UCI team, behind giving them a bike and a jersey. It's the opportunity, really. Yeah, race. Absolutely. And now it's becoming more and more difficult to get rides in Premier calendars. You have to be part of a team. And I think it's just appreciating the sponsorships. It's getting a couple of kit brixers and that. There's a reason why companies are involved, and it's getting those guys to buy into that and helping us along the way.
And it's giving them the opportunity to race, though, that is not as simple as it sounds.
Definitely not.
It just rolls off the tongue quite easily, but there's a lot of money to put that whole show on the road.
Well, it's not, you can strip it right back. It's the staff that we have. I mean, I think every race we have 2 Swannies, 2 mechanics, guys driving the camper. There's a lot behind that, and it is 100% team effort to those guys arriving, sitting in the camper van, to get in their pre-race meal to post-race meal. Everything's prepared and planned, and it's a simple thank you at the end of the day, and I have to say to my staff, I've had the same group of staff, for the last 7 or 8 years, which has been nice, because I don't need to tell those guys now. They know how I'm pretty relaxed, We have a lot of fun post races. They know how to handle my stress if I'm stressed, and we kind of support each other. We know how to pick up, if Michelle's having a hard time, or Chris, or Pete, Alan. It is just a team effort.
And you've got a couple of riders, one especially from Ireland, who's got a huge amount of interest from his home country, and another rider from Latvia, as well as the rider from Spain. So you've got some quite good prospects for people to look out for, as well as the young British lads. Yeah,
I think every year we've brought in somebody, 1 or 2 exciting riders. And we've had to select those very carefully this year. A lot of that's down to the budget of the team. And there's a lot again that goes into housing those guys here. We have to make sure they're comfortable and happy in the environment they're living in. And I think that's always been key to the way we've looked after our foreign riders. So
tell us about what do you know? What can you tell the fans about the the Latvian and the Irish guys and that they may not know?
I guess for Deans, the first thing that struck me was how tall he was. I think we've got the tallest guy and the shortest guy in the peloton this year. So Deans is 198 centimetres tall, and Spanish guy's Julio is 162 centimetres. So hopefully he'll be able to pick him up and put him in his pocket and drop him off at the finish. But that's going to be quite interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing the dynamic of how that's going to work. But I'm sure we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun, you know. We got some big guys, you know. There's some really big guys on the squad.
So the Latvian, he won a stage of the Tour of China? Or?
Yeah, he's still young. He's 22 years old. Been on the same continental team. Same thing in Latvia. Their continental team lost their major sponsor, and the team's folded. You know. So, but what I liked was the consistency and the progression that Deans has showed over the last 2 or 3 years. And his professionalism in the way he approached and you know, I speak to him on, you know, everybody uses WhatsApp, you know, I'm just old school. I like them to pick the phone up and speak to me face to face or phone to phone or whatever. You just get more of a personal feeling for what makes the rider tick. And Dean's, you know, he approached us, I think November time, and we still weren't sure how we were going to support in 2018 at least, and then I just thought, you know what, he's that consistent with his updates every week. Let's give him a go.
And Ben from Ireland, what's his?
So Ben has I have a mutual friend that coaches Ben. Nico's looks after me when I try and have a bit of a bike ride now and then. So I know a little bit about Ben's background in terms of how he's prepared, particularly last year. He'd had a very special year as a junior.
Tour of Ireland winner.
Yeah, exactly, and he won that on a time trial stage on stage 1 and held on to the yellow jersey. So that's all credit to Nicholas Roach's team. There's a team, the academy that he rode for last year. Very, very professional setup, and it kind of fitted well to have an Irish rider on the team, and again a very young rider, which is what we're about, you know, and supporting as many under 23s as we can. So tick the box for Vitus. Obviously Sean Kelly is the brand ambassador for Vitus. Our main sponsors, obviously Vitus, Wiggle Chain Reaction are based in Ireland, so that fitted nicely there. And then obviously our clothing sponsor have a base out in Ireland and have supported the Nicholas Roche Academy for 2 or 3 years, I think. So,
and you've got experience of helping bring riders through. A lot of experience over the years. I remember lots of young guys come through the ranks. But one of them last year, Grant Martin. From Scotland. Yeah,
Grant
showed a lot of potential.
Yeah, super motivated guy. Has his head screwed on. He showed us flashes of what he was capable of, and we had to, you know, I think everybody was aware after, I think it was the second round of the Tour Series, we had 3 pretty bad injuries. And we had to throw young Grant in at the deep end, and okay, I think the recovery was not quite there, but he was only 18. He still was 18 in September, so he was very young, but he did the job we asked him to, and I think Motherwell stood out for me, and I think Northwich, where Enrique Sanz won. You know, Grant was at the front there doing the bit for the boys, so there's a lot more to come from Grant. Everyone's
going to be asking when are they going to see the team on the road. First thing is training camp.
Yeah.
What's the training camp bring to the team ahead of a long season? Well,
a lot of planning, I think, and it was, you know, if you take it back a step, it's a brand new team, so we have no content. We still to reveal the kit. You know, there's little flashes of the fact that we're a bit red this year.
Very striking.
Yes, definitely. But it was key. There's one thing that we missed last year. We've had a training camp every year on the team, and we missed that last year. And I think that was important for me to see how the guys respond together, and that's one of the reasons. Other than you know, a training camp is one of the only opportunities you get an opportunity to get the whole squad together, and all your staff together. And that's vital to see, you know, who's going to come down late, you know, who's going to be buying me the coffee for coming down late, or who's early, who's more motivated, and just to see how they work together as a unit.
Race program. Is that a lot of that's chosen for you? A lot of it you don't really have a choice on.
No, and that's how it is in the UK. You know, I think it'd be nice to have the race program soon. But yeah, I think we got a general idea of what weekends are happening, and I'd like to be back in Europe. You know, this is 100% year one for us, and Rome wasn't built in a day. So we have to work with, what we've got, and the British program does deliver that. And I think as long as you're on the same page with your sponsors and they're aware of that. And I'm as motivated as the riders are. I need to be back to where we were, 2 or 3 years ago.
Now, it's a UCI team, and that brings with it, being UCI, a lot of extra pressure on you. You really like doing things the hard way.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like anything. I guess if you try to step out of something and try to come back in, it's a lot harder. I think, we always said that we wanted to keep the team UCI because it is a lot, there's a lot, so much there for being involved in a UCI, and you set about the bank guarantee and things, and it's so much easier to run that process if once you've done it, you know how to do it. And that was something we agreed as a group that, even for a sponsor like Toyota, that was key to, be not at the bottom, but to keep and hold our position there.
And it will be a lot easier once on the second and third years of a continuing sponsorship.
Well, let's hope so. I think again it's key to doing a good job in 2018 for all our partners and sponsors, because they need to buy into it as much as we do. Yeah.
Once the season, obviously you've had a lot of sleepless nights with getting sponsorships and that during the winter, but now the season's almost upon us. Is it going to get easier for a team owner?
I'd like to think so. I can't wait to get out to the training camp and actually see the squad roll off for the first time. That'd be pretty special. And I think that's when you, as a management group, Michael and Dave, Pete, Alan, the guys behind me, is where you can go, okay, now we can get to what we really enjoy doing.
Proper job.
Yeah.
Let's get on to what the guys are going to be riding this year. They're riding Vitus bikes.
Vitus Vitesse Evo, 2018 model.
Which is available through the...
Absolutely, it's the bikes that the boys will be riding is available online, if not already. Yeah. So that's going to be nice,
And Prime wheels.
Yes, another brand of Wiggles. We haven't tried them yet, but I know there's been a British team that's been on them certainly last year. So that would be good, to support the sponsors and give them the feedback that they need on the wheels.
A mix of aluminium and carbon wheels by the look of it.
Yeah, traditionally now the lads will train on prime clinchers. We'll have a selection of deep sections, 35s, 50s, and yeah, they'll be well catered for.
And they're going to be running Shimano Dura Race by the look of it?
Yeah, so it'd be nice. Yeah, it'd be nice for a change. We've decided to go with mechanical. Yeah. Mechanical Dura Race. So that's what the boys will be riding on the race bikes, training bikes, and the roof bikes will have Shimano Ultegra. And
I also notice you're going to be running new helmets this year.
Yeah, I think it's our third year with Mavic. So Mavic have upped their sponsorship with the team for 2018. So we'll be riding Mavic helmets, Mavic shoes, Mavic socks. I think, yeah, they've done a great job in coordinating the colours for the team for this year. So you should be able to spot us.
And got to mention the cars. I think it's the third year with Toyota.
It is indeed, yeah. Yeah.
And you've been running the Toyota Aris.
Yeah.
As the
Auris,
pronunciation.
Yeah.
Hybrids. What have they been like? Because I understand they've been very economical as a team car, which obviously helps cut down the cost.
Yeah, I mean, having a financial director who obviously is an accountant, he's always checking. But you know, as far as the last update we had from Dave, I think we about halved our fuel consumption. 2016, obviously, we did a bit more travelling than last year, but they're certainly very economical cars. Yeah.
And the staff this year, the usual suspects.
My same crew. Hell of a great support from Michelle, Chris, Pete, Alan, Ed. I probably forgot. There's Wendy in the background. They've all been there for me through thick and thin.
And one final question. Racing hasn't begun yet. It's another 2 weeks away. But when you had this merry-go-round, everyone changes teams.
Yeah.
Does that affect? Once the racing gets on the road and everyone's riding different jerseys, does that affect the way racing is?
No, I guess not. It's down to the team manager at the end of the day to have his strategy before the race starts. And at the end of the day, he's just changed his jersey. You know, you obviously get to know how certain riders ride and whether they're an aggressive type rider or a sprinter or a climber. So, you know, you can pass that sort of element of things across to your team meeting before the start, but that's bike racing, I guess. Yeah.
So with the team, who just finally just give us the dynamics of that: the sprinters, the climbers, the.
I think for a young team like ours, most of them, I think we've got 400 or 500 18-year-olds, and they probably don't really know what they are yet, and that's going to be key to their development, is to try and help, you know, what type of rider they're going to be. For somebody like Grant Martin, he's so young, but he's obviously pointing to the direction of a solid crit rider. Yeah. So he's going to be one to watch in the crits. He's still got a little bit more development to go in finishing a Premier calendar, but hopefully we can. He's a year older, and hopefully he can, you know, I don't like the term get round, but do a job for the team at a Premier calendar, and come back with some positive, you know, feedback onto the next one, and then hopefully he, you know, as he gets older and stronger, like all of them, they can start being competitive in the Premier calendars.
Well, you had a young sprinter, not so young, as mid-20s, that's young for me, in Enrique last year, doing the team proud. Yeah. Expecting the same thing from your new Spanish signing?
Julio is a slightly different rider. He obviously, you know, he comes from the same background as Seb and Elbert and Adria, so again that's down to an under-23 development squad, that those riders that we've been in contact with, the team, the managers there, is how we get the good characters of those kind of riders. But Julio, he's obviously won races. He rode for a Conti team last year, and his job there was to ride actually for Albert Torres, more in support of the sprints. So hopefully here he'll have more of a free hand, because he's that bit older and he has that more bit of experience than the 18-year-olds. But he likes a good breakaway, and he's clearly quick on you know, his day. I wouldn't class him as a sprinter, but I think he's a rider that will get stuck in, roll his sleeves up, and do what needs to be done for the team.
So I guess before you go to camp, your main job is just keeping them on a leash, because I guess the riders are quite hungry to get out there and start racing for you. Yeah,
and you know, I have to say with this group, they've appreciated the position we've been in. They know it's a brand new team, so the equipment's arriving almost on a daily basis. I keep giving them little hints on social media and about what's to come, but it's not all about, you know, what you give them. I think it's what they give back to the team. and that's how a team should be, is bit of give and take.
Do their sponsors proud, basically.
Yeah, 100%, and ultimately have some fun. You know, that's what we want to do.
You want to start enjoying it now.
I definitely do. You know, it has been a hard couple of years, and I am getting to the point. I think seeing the young guys there as well is one of the reasons why we do that.